this should be my screen. Am I visible, Garland?
Yes, you are, Kurt.
Okay, perfect. So, welcome everyone. I'm Kurt Dupont. We are shifted from India now to Belgium in Europe. So now for me it's 7 p.m. So I still have a nice evening in front of me. So let's get started. I'm going to tell you about reporting in PowerPoint, and I will tell you that from now on you will be using PowerPoint for reporting for a given number of reasons. And during this session, we will compare other tools like Microsoft Excel compared to Microsoft PowerPoint. And we will see and learn and how we will be using PowerPoint to do reporting and statistics. Okay, let's get started. Okay, easy to use. Excel is probably the most complex application of the Microsoft Office suite. You can use it to do quickly data entry. You can quickly run calculations, calculate averages, and it's a very good option to store data if you don't want to use a database. And you also have very good looking formatting options in Excel, but it is sometimes I see it more as a never-ending listing of rows and columns with data. It's just like a Word document of 500 pages, and there is no end. So the most used buttons in Excel are probably the page down and the page up keys. So you're navigating through that massive list of information that you have in Excel. And the problem with Excel is that endless rows and columns. And it's very hard for you as a designer to emphasize on some value, because that value is always there as part of that unlimited list of rows and columns. On the contrary, a PowerPoint presentation can be more appealing because there you can create a kind of a book or a story. You can use a slide after another slide, and you can bring a message. You can start telling your message with an introduction slide. You can put some questions on the slide. You can create suspense and curiosity for the audience. And then finally, you can display on one of the last slides, you can display the final result. You can reveal the conclusion and all the steps that you have to take in the future. So a story is much more appealing to the audience because you can bring emotion to your slides. And that's a big difference that you see, or comparison that you have between Excel and PowerPoint. Okay, next slide. Flexibility. So Excel is less flexible because that endless data grid. So you can only store numbers, text, dates, and you can draw some charts on the Excel files, etc. And of course you can draw some images. That's true. But Excel has simply put less design flexibility for you as a designer. PowerPoint there has the advantage that you can use a textual content. So you can have text boxes and tables. You can use auditive content. You can do a ping or a dong or an MP4 or whatsoever to give more attention to your slides. And also you can use videos. So you can add, you have visual content like images, icons, and so on. So, and on top of all those shapes that you can use, as we saw some great shortcuts by Jitesh in the last hour, you can also add animation to your shapes. You can bring your shapes in one by one on your slide, like a timeline or a story sequence. And we all know that people rather watch a video than reading an article, because video or heavy animated PowerPoint slides are surprising, and they bring your slides to life. And let me show this here. This is a video, and when you start this, no, it's not starting. I know why. Sorry. I switched my computer because of the Zoom problems we had, and I think I lost the video. So that's pity. But basically, what I had here was a video, and it brings a story, and that's displaying much more information. You continue to watch the presentation or the video. Okay, we move on. Navigation. So I told you already that probably the page down and the page up keys are the most used keys in an Excel worksheet. Navigation or a simple storyboard that you can create in PowerPoint, for instance, is very difficult to build in Excel, because you don't know how the people will navigate the document. So they can scroll down, they can go to the right and to the left, etc. But there is no control as a designer on the sequence of the information that people are looking at. It's a complete different story when you use PowerPoint, because you as a designer, you know upfront how the user will navigate. They will follow your slides. So you can put up your story on your slide in a sequence that you want to tell the story to the audience. You are basically the art director here. And with your storyboard, you not only guide a viewer or reader, you also create suspense by revealing new facts, new figures, new conclusions, new comparisons, and so on. So another advantage of using PowerPoint is that you can use buttons on a slide. So you can navigate, you can put a few buttons where you jump to slide number 7, for instance, where you display the results of the sales of a given product in a certain country. And then you have other buttons there again to navigate back to the home, the index page, where you can have buttons again to slide number 14, where you have another section or category, and so on. So you can have navigation in a PowerPoint presentation. Designing flexibility. So I told this before, Excel has less design capabilities. So you can set a font, and you can change the font size, the background color, the foreground color, but not much more than that in Excel. PowerPoint has way more options to create graphical elements, and you can draw shapes, you can merge, you can subtract shapes, and you can create your own illustrations in PowerPoint. You can insert an image, you can remove the background from that image to be more flexible in your drawing, and so on. And if you're limited, maybe in time, or maybe limited in design capabilities, there are also other sites on the internet where you can buy templates. For instance, there are hundreds of websites where you can buy templates, and most of them are free. Some you have to pay for. You can buy one specific template that you like, or you can probably buy a subscription where you can download as many templates as you need, and so on. And there are hundreds of websites for this. Here are just 2 examples. On the left, we have Presentation Note, where you can download and buy premium PowerPoint slides. You have various categories. You pick one, you go down, and you select your presentation, and you check out, you buy and check out, and so on. And on the right side, you have Template Monster. That's another provider of high quality templates, and here again, categories, and you pick the presentation that you want to use for your design. Okay, most PowerPoint presentations are set up horizontally because typically for presenting, your computer screen or your television screen is in landscape orientation. So for reporting, you better switch to documents like you have in North America. You have the letter format, and in the rest of the world you have the A4 paper size. So to change the slide size of your PowerPoint presentation, you just go to PowerPoint, you click the design option in the PowerPoint ribbon. From there, you click the slide size button here, and then you get this option here. And typically, it's a widescreen as a default, probably on your computer. But if you want to generate reporting documents, etc., you either choose letter format here or the A4 paper size, and you can switch here from landscape to portrait. And then you get a document that looks exactly the same like you would have in Microsoft Word and so on. Okay, PowerPoint is great to design presentations and documents. That we all agree on. You have a rich set of export functionality in PowerPoint. So when you need to distribute your PowerPoint presentation, you can just send out the PowerPoint presentation. Yeah, that's probably the most used option, your native PowerPoint presentation that you distribute to your colleagues or customers or whatsoever. If you don't want to depend on the PowerPoint application, on the display or the presenter computer, then you can always export the PowerPoint presentation as a MP4 movie. And that gives you the advantage that you can verify the smoothness of the transitions and the animations up front before you present it to your audience. And you don't need PowerPoint on the display computer. So that's the advantage. When the animations and the transitions are not that important for your document, then you can always export the PowerPoint presentation as a PDF document. And typically for PDF documents is that they are smaller in size. So typically you will use PDF documents if you want to attach the document or a report by email, because an email can only accept smaller attachments, and you will very find that a PowerPoint is too large to attach to a mail message. And then finally, often used is the export capabilities of your PowerPoint slides to images. So you can export to a JPEG image, you can export to PNG, and so on. So you don't need Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop to design your images. You can use your well-known PowerPoint presentation to design your slides, your banners, leaflets, etc. And then you just export one slide or all slides of a presentation into images. So that's very easy to generate in PowerPoint. Okay, but you will always see that data is very important in reporting. Reporting without data is not possible. Your story is always based on data. It's all about data. So what is a data presentation? So basically, this is a dynamic presentation where you get the information from various data sources. So you can open an Excel worksheet. You can select the data that you want to use in your presentation. You press the Control-C and then the Control-V, or you type in all the Excel figures again in a PowerPoint table. So there you first get the information, and it does not have to be from Excel. It can also be from other data sources. So you can use database systems like Microsoft Access, Microsoft SQL Server, Oracle, MySQL, XML files, comma-separated value files, JSON files, and so on. And also you have other, what we call internet data providers like Facebook, Twitter, Google Calendar, Google Sheets, and so on. So you get the information, you get the data from somewhere, and you paste it or you type it in on your slides, to finalize your report. If you have to do this on a regular basis, then you can use our DataPoint plugin for PowerPoint. And with this tool, you can bind the data from a data source to PowerPoint shapes. And you only have to do this once. So when you have to do weekly reporting or monthly reporting, you only have to link the information once to the data source. And then you have, when you open the presentation next week, you will have a new presentation with the latest information. So with DataPoint, you can connect your PowerPoint shapes to external data sources so that you have an automated solution. So you will not have the copy-paste errors anymore. You will not forget to copy and paste values from Excel and so on. And moreover, no work needs to be done to regenerate your report next week. So once that you have your shapes linked to your data information, then it will work all the times. And it offers you the capability of doing some mail merging, where you generate multiple slides in a report when you have multiple rows at the data source. So DataPoint is able to connect and read out information continuously from XML, JSON, RSS feeds, weather providers, Google Calendar, Sheets, Microsoft Outlook, Microsoft Exchange, Excel, SharePoint, databases like Access, SQL Server, Facebook, and so on and so on. So how does this work? You see it here. When you have DataPoint installed, you have a new option in your PowerPoint ribbon, DataPoint. From there, you click here on the list button of the connections group. You get this form here, where you see an overview of all the data providers that you have within DataPoint. For here, we will use Microsoft Access. We make a connection, or we navigate to the folder where we have this database. We select the database. We click the Add Query button. And then you get a list of all the available objects that you have in that database. So you see a list of tables, and you see a list of queries that you have. And you can also have a custom SQL statement. You can change the refresh rate here and so on. So then you get a preview of the information that you got from the data source, like here. Then you insert a table on your slide. You use the DataPoint binding options, where you connect basically this data set here to the table. And then finally, you have that information here in this table. And I want to show you on the next slide how you can display, or how you can set up this table. So let me end the slideshow here. I'm on this slide here. I have DataPoint. I click refresh, and here we see that we have one data connection to the Microsoft Access database. We have 10 rows refreshed in 0.2 seconds. So when we go to the list here, we go to the Microsoft group, Microsoft Access, Northwind database, and here we have that query which is returning this information. Okay, so we have this information. Now we just insert a normal table like so. So here's our table. We go to data point again. We have a table option here. I can select the data source. We only have one because we have only one data connection set up in this presentation. And I click OK. So now the information from the data that we got in from the database is copied to the table. Like you see here, we have 3 rows, 3 columns, and here we have the information. So we need to do some more. So I want to see, or I want to copy the column names to the first row of a table. So here we get that done. Then I want to adjust the number of rows based on the rows that we have in the data set. So we have 1 header with the column names, and we have 10 data rows. So I've checked this, automatically adjust the number of rows. I click OK, and we get additional rows added to the table. We are missing some columns. So I can also check this option here to automatically adjust the number of columns, like so. Then we can do some formatting, like this. Oops, there we go. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Everything is on there. Okay, I want to change this name here. So let me go back in here. I uncheck the option to copy the column names. Or maybe let me do this. I don't need the order ID. So I have the first column, which is the order ID. Does not say anything to me. So I want to remove this. I use the special column selection. And it's just like printing a page or printing pages of a Word document. I can say I want to include columns 2 till 5. So I'm skipping basically column number 1. So then you get this. So now I want to customize the header information. So I'm unchecking the copy column names to the first row of the tables. I'm changing the start filling data at row 2. I click OK. Nothing is changing because it's not touching anymore the first row. So I can now change the texts here. And maybe I want to say company, like so. Okay, I want to format the date information here. So typically with databases, a date time or a date is internally always a date time. So you have a date part and a time part in that same column. Obviously for our reporting, we only have date, our relevant date information. So I have the cell selected. I'm going to data point table. I click the format option here. I select date and time. I have a list of pre-formatted values that I can choose from, and I want to use just the date part. So I click OK, and the date is only remaining here in this column. Sales, selecting the sales cells, table, format. I want to format this as a currency. 2 decimal places. I can switch the symbol. I will leave it to US dollar. And there you get the information. And then again, here, I want to use the date format only. Then I click OK. So here is this table now dynamically linked to the data file, so let me try to open the database. So this is the database I was reading. And we were displaying the query here, the top 10 products that we were displaying. So that's the information that we are importing in DataPoint. So this is a query. We will have to change the base information. So let me go back to the presentation. I want to, for instance, change a name of a company here. So I go to the database, and the name of the company is stored at the customers table. So I'm opening the customers table. Let me see, we have here company F. Company F, here it is. Let me change this into PresentationPoint, like so. So I can now choose to close this presentation and reopen the presentation, or I can just hit the refresh button here. And then you see here that the information is modified in real time. Yeah. So if your sales information is changing over the week, next Monday when you open this presentation, you will have the latest information, the latest figures, and you just have to open the presentation. That's all you have to do. If there are questions, let me know on the chat. I haven't seen one. Garland, you can interrupt me if you see something popping up. Okay, we move on. So, in PowerPoint, I explained already earlier that you have more design capabilities in PowerPoint. You know? Look at, for instance, this nice looking chart, and this, I call this the hydro bar chart that you have on the right. You can connect those values, 45%, 60%, 40%, etc. And also the values here of the data, the chart here, you can also bind this to a data source to have dynamic information, or you can just change it manually. Same goes here for this slide. And maybe I can start my slideshow again to have some animation. You can animate this, you can change the values dynamically, you can grow and you can shrink the thermometer value. Or you have horizontal bars like this. Or a dashboard where you dynamically rotate a needle based on a value that you have in the database. That's a dashboard like you have in the car, and that's very much explaining what the value that you are displaying, and you can make this very attractive. You can draw, for instance, a green zone here to indicate the area that is safe, and you can display a red zone here to indicate that it's in a danger zone for production figures and so on. Or you can create full dashboards where you show real-time information on television screens. Or if you need to, you can print this out and you can distribute it every day. Or you can create nice looking commercials where you have dynamic price information and up-to-date pricing information like this here. Or why not create infographics and complex graphics in PowerPoint with the latest information. Or like this here, the super good looking dashboards that update the information every second if needed. If there is a change, it will update on the slide. You have brochures that you can generate with, again, dynamic information. And this is an example, and this video will not work as well like the other one. Let me check. No, it's working. Sorry, it's working. So basically, the mail merging capability of DataPoint is that you start with a data store, a database, an Excel file with information. Like this, you have here the evaluation of personnel in your company. So you have here Roger, Elaine, Diane, etc. And you have quotations, percentages on specific questions or KPIs and so on. So you use that information with DataPoint, and you use that information on various text boxes. And you have, in this case, a video in the background. So what DataPoint is doing is, if you have 100 personnel, one PowerPoint presentation, and you do your mail merging via DataPoint, you end up with 100 individual mail merged presentations in a folder. So like here, you have an evaluation of Allison, evaluation of Anna, evaluation of Andy, of Anne, etc. So it's generating an individual and customized and up-to-date presentation based on the raw data that you had in the Excel file. Yeah. So when you run this presentation, and I'm going to start the video, you will see that you have a completely customized video, data video, basically, generated in PowerPoint with DataPoint based on the information that you have in Excel. And next year, when you are doing a new evaluation of your personnel, you will use that same presentation. The only thing that you will change is the percentages and probably the names of the people that you have in the company. So this all is possible with DataPoint and PowerPoint. And as you have seen, you have way much more functionality and design capabilities in PowerPoint compared to Excel. So that's basically what I wanted to tell you today about reporting in PowerPoint.
So a couple of comments, Melody, early on, and I hate Excel, and everybody seems to love it. And yeah, Excel is very, very complex. The Melody also seems to be mind blown. So
yeah.
Some feedback for you.
Let me maybe have a look. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's true. Excel is a great application. It's let's say a light database. It's not compared to SQL Server whatsoever, but it's very ideal to do calculations, do sums on sales figures, etc. It's an excellent application, but it's lacking the capability of great design work, and for that you have to move on to PowerPoint, and that's where PowerPoint was created for.